This broadcast is entirely fictional. All names, characters, locations, and events are products of imagination, created only for storytelling and dramatic effect. Any similarities to real people, places, or situations are purely coincidental. The content is not meant to harm, insult, or single out any person, group, community, or belief. Listener discretion is advised. Comment below with where you are listening from and what time it is. I would love to know where you are listening to the broadcast from. My name doesn't really matter anymore. Maybe it never did. What matters is that you're hearing this. That something inside the wires still carries a voice through the dark. You're tuned to what's left of the radio, broadcasting from a place that barely stands, in a world that barely moves. I don't know how far this signal reaches. I don't know who's out there. But if you're listening, then we're not completely alone. Not yet. If you can hear me, send a sign. Let me know where you are. What time is it there? What do you see when you look outside? It's 2:47 in the morning here. The air still stings in my lungs when I breathe. It smells like burning wires and melted plastic. Tastes like copper. Outside the studio window, the sky's not dark. Not really. It's this dirty orange haze that's been stuck there for, I don't know, 3 days? 4? Time doesn't work right anymore. The clouds don't move. There's no wind, no birds, no cars. Just this low, buzzing silence that settles into your bones if you let it. The only light left comes from the blinking red battery monitor on the backup power unit. We've got solar panels feeding it through a cracked skylight, and when the sun's out, if you can call it that, it trickles enough juice to keep the transmitter warm. No more grid, no more towers. I'm talking to you from an island of static, surrounded by smoke and shadows. There's no schedule anymore. No music, no commercials. Just this. Just you and me. So, let's talk about what happened. It didn't come all at once. That's the thing no one ever tells you. It wasn't a flash of light or a mushroom cloud blooming over the horizon. It was quieter than that. Slower. People used to ask how the world would end. Fire or ice. We got both. It started with the heat. I remember because it was a Tuesday. I was walking back from the pharmacy. Still had air conditioning back then. Just barely. And I noticed the crosswalk lights were stuck. Just flashing red. No green. No countdown. The traffic signals were blank too. Like the power wasn't gone. Just confused. Then my phone buzzed. Amber alert, they said. But the screen glitched out before I could read it. Then the temperature jumped. I don't mean it got hot like a summer day. I mean it felt like the air turned solid, like stepping into a dry oven with no door. People dropped right there on the sidewalk. Nosebleeds, seizures, fainting. Cars stopped running. Their engines just gave up. Phones froze. Screens cracked from the inside out. It was like the city exhaled all at once, and then didn't inhale again. I ran the last 4 blocks back here. The studio was still working then. Barely. We had an old diesel generator nobody bothered to scrap. That thing chugged back to life like it remembered how. I turned on the monitors. Tried to get the news, but all I got was color bars and error tones. No one was saying what was happening. Not yet. Just rumors. There was this thread on an old ham radio forum. Guy from outside Amarillo, Texas, said he saw something fall out of the sky the night before. Real slow, like it was steering. big black cylinder trailing heat behind it, but no flame. Said it hit the desert and didn't explode, just melted into the ground. Then the air turned red. Then it started killing birds. Someone else from Nevada jumped in, said they saw tanks moving west on Interstate 80. Unmarked, no flags, just long convoys moving at night. That was the last post I saw before the site timed out. I don't know how it spread so fast. I don't even know what it is. But I remember the smell. That chemical, metallic sting. Like batteries leaking into a bonfire. People started coughing. Kids first, then pets stopped eating. Dogs howled for hours and then dropped dead without a mark on them. And then the broadcasts started dropping. First it was the music stations, dead air. Then AM talk shows. Then the big ones, NPR, the National Weather Service. Even emergency alert systems. Just silence. The president made a statement that first night. We played it here live. He was rushed. Voice too calm, too flat. Said it was a solar storm interfering with communications. Said we should shelter indoors, conserve power, remain calm. But even then, the White House feed was glitching. His voice started overlapping, repeating certain words. Remain, remain, remain calm. That was the last official thing I heard. No press conferences, no experts, nothing. Just quiet. The next day, the sky turned. And I mean that literally. It went from gray to amber to this deep bruised red, like the whole atmosphere got burned. The sun doesn't shine anymore. It glows. Everything smells scorched. Even the dirt. Especially the dirt. The water's still running here somehow, but it's hot. Hotter than bath water. Tastes like rust. Boiling it doesn't help. Some people left town that second night. I watched them from the roof, walking down the highway with backpacks and kids and shopping carts. Nobody knew where to go. I don't think anyone got far. The bridges are blocked now, concrete barriers with no signage. Just armed people in suits. They don't talk. They don't move. They just stand there, watching. I tried to ask questions. Got too close. One of them pointed a scanner at me. Little handheld thing with a screen. It beeped 3 times. He said nothing. That's when I noticed what was growing on his boots. Ash. But not falling from the sky. Rising. Like it was blooming up from the pavement. Something's wrong with the ground. I can feel it in my teeth. I've been trying to reach other stations. Wavelengths I haven't touched since college. Shortwave, VHF, even Morse. Almost nothing. But 3 nights ago, I caught something. Weak signal, barely audible. A woman's voice, crying, then whispering. It's in the air. It's not smoke. It's not fallout. It's something alive. Then static. I don't know what to believe. I had a friend here in the studio. Marty. Engineer, older guy. He stayed that first night. Tried to keep the backup systems running. But he started coughing, real bad. Said his skin itched on the inside, like something crawling under it. He left at sunrise. Said he had family in the hills. Took one of the wind-up radios and disappeared. Haven't heard from him since. I tried going outside yesterday. Just to the corner. Just to see. The air burned. Not like fire. More like breathing bleach. My lungs locked up. Eyes swelled shut. Couldn't stop shaking. I made it back inside. Took me 6 hours to catch my breath. There's something wrong with the oxygen. I don't know how much longer this transmitter will last. Or me, for that matter. But as long as this light's blinking, as long as the signal moves, I'll keep talking, even if no one answers, even if no one's left to hear. Because maybe somewhere, in the dark, someone's still listening. This is still the radio, whatever that means now. If you're alive, if you're hearing this, tell me where you are. Are you underground? Are you alone? What's the sky look like where you are? You can't call. You can't text. But if you've got a radio, if you know how to boost signal, try sto 40 pet zares 8 megahertz. I'll be scanning. This isn't over. It just feels like it. I'll stay on the air until the air takes me. I promise. More soon. It's 5:12 a.m. now. I haven't slept. The air's cooled slightly, but that doesn't help. It just means the sting is slower, less immediate. It still burns when I breathe. A dull kind of heat now, like inhaling steam from old radiator pipes soaked in acid. I've soaked a towel in bottled water and wrapped it around my mouth. Doesn't do much. Outside, the haze is thicker. It clings to the buildings like it wants in. Nothing's moved on the street below for hours. No headlights, no people. Just these drifting shapes. Figures, maybe. Or just tricks of the eyes. The fog makes shadows that lie. I heard something earlier. A sound I couldn't place. A kind of low hum, not mechanical. It didn't come from any direction I could tell. Just everywhere. Like it was humming through the bones of the building. I turned off every device in here. The hum stayed. And then it stopped. Just vanished, like it had never been there. That's somehow worse. The studio is holding together for now. The concrete's thick and insulated, but the ceiling tiles are starting to warp. The solar panels cracked today, hairline fractures running through the glass. Still getting charge. For now. But if they go, that's it. No more signal. No more anything. The worst part isn't the heat, or even the silence. It's the stillness. Like the world stopped breathing. You don't notice how many small noises keep you sane. Air conditioners, birds, tires on pavement. Now there's just this oppressive stillness pressing against the walls. It makes you wonder if sound died before people did. Earlier, I tried to reach WQBL up north. They were still on the air last week, barely. Repeating loop, something like, remain in your homes. Avoid low-lying areas, cover all vents, over and over. But today, nothing. Just static and a faint pop, like a heartbeat echoing through a wire that forgot what it was for. Someone slipped a note through the back door last night. I didn't hear them. No knocking, no voice. Just an envelope pushed under the door, singed on the corners. Handwritten, shaky letters. They opened something near the base, a door that wasn't supposed to be there. Air changed after that. It wasn't just fallout. It was old, wrong. No name, just that. I don't know which base they meant. There's too many. McClellan? Fort Greely? One of the black sites no one ever talked about but we all knew existed? Theories started popping up even before the lights went out. People saying it wasn't an attack. Not exactly. That something was triggered by accident. Some system buried deep in the Cold War bunkers. Something experimental. That it got loose. Someone, I think it was a FEMA guy, who used to call into late-night shows, said it wasn't radiation in the normal sense. Said it was microscopic combustion of ambient elements. That the oxygen molecules were changing. That breathing itself had become corrosive. He called it atmospheric burn. Not a fire you could see. A fire you could live in. Until you couldn't. I don't know how much of that's true. Maybe none of it. But I'll tell you what I do know. Plastic warps in minutes now. Anything soft melts into a shape you don't recognize. Rubber soles on shoes stick to pavement. Water evaporates faster than it should. Not from heat alone. Some other process. Something in the chemistry is off. It's like the rules changed. I've started hearing about burn zones. Pockets where the air is visibly thick, shimmering like heat over asphalt. People walk into them and don't come out. Or if they do, their skin is wrong. Too dry. Too pale. Peeling off in sheets like something inside is pushing out. One woman, I think she said her name was Rena from Flagstaff, called 2 nights ago. Weak signal, bouncing through God knows how many dead towers. She said her son started bleeding from the gums after going outside for 5 minutes. Then his eyes turned red. Not just bloodshot, red. Fully red. Like the iris dissolved. He stopped talking, just stared at the window. She kept repeating, "He's breathing, but it's not him." And then the line died. If anyone out there knows Rena, if you're hearing this, call back. Please. There are still pockets of life out there. I have to believe that. I got a blip from someone calling themselves Red Dog near the old mining tunnels in Montana. Said there's a whole group living underground now, using old ventilation shafts from the quarry to circulate cooler air. Growing food in old seed vaults. Using heat from the geothermal vents to power low-voltage lights. He said they keep the walls wet to trap particles in the water, and it's working. I asked him how many people. He said 19, then paused, then said, "No, 18 now." Didn't explain. There are still voices on the emergency ham frequencies, but they're not coordinated. No central authority. Just people trying to reach each other. It's mostly numbers now. Latitude, longitude. Locations scratched out through the static. I've been keeping track. I've started drawing a map on the back of the studio calendar. Every call, every transmission I can catch. Most overlap near the Rockies. Maybe the elevation helps. Or maybe they just got lucky. I got a message from someone calling herself Field Bird. She's been riding an old motorcycle along the old Route 36, dodging patrols. Says the interstates are barricaded. Trains are gone. Fuel is almost impossible to find. She's running on ethanol brewed from corn mash. Said it smells like liquor when she drives. Wears a gas mask made from an old military canteen and a furnace filter. She passed a town yesterday. No name. Just boarded windows and burned scars on every building. And one sign, written in ash on a brick wall. The sun burned our skin, but it was the silence that killed us. That stuck with me. The silence is what kills. People need to hear a voice. Even if it's mine. Even if it's just once a night. I don't have good news. Not really. But I have the truth. Or pieces of it. The only thing left to do now is document. Archive. Warn. So here's what I've seen. What I know. And what you should do. If you can. If you're near a water source, bury it. Dig trenches. Cover it with plastic sheeting if you have any. The air contaminates exposed water in under 48 hours. Even rain. especially rain. Don't touch anything metallic that's been in direct sunlight. I've seen doorknobs brand people, steering wheels fuse to fingers. If you have anything analog, old maps, wind-up radios, solar calculators, batteries, protect them. Digital's gone, capacitors fried, screens bubbled. Analog is king now. Insulate your vents. Use layers. Wet towels work in a pinch. Heat exhaustion starts faster than you think now. 100 degrees doesn't feel like 100 anymore. It feels sharp, like the heat wants something from you. Don't waste your time asking who dropped what bomb. This wasn't a war in the way we understood it. This was something older. Maybe it started with a weapon, or maybe we just knocked over the wrong domino. Either way, the damage is done. But you're not. If you're hearing this, you're not done. Please write down this frequency. Share it. 99.3 FM. Or if that's blocked, scan the 2-meter ham band. I broadcast in bursts every 3 hours. And if you know someone still alive, tell them. The air burns, but voices still carry. This is what's left of the radio. And I'll be back when the sun's behind the smoke. Stay underground, stay awake, stay together. It's just past 9 a.m. now. The light coming through the upper vents isn't sunlight. Not really. It's that thick, peach-colored smear that looks like the inside of a bruised fruit. The air is dry but heavy, like the world's trying to exhale but can't quite manage it. There's a powder on everything this morning. Fine, white-gray flakes that settle on paper, on skin, in your lungs if you're not careful. I sweep it up every few hours, but it comes back. It always comes back. You can taste it when you talk. Chalk and copper and rot. The radio's still holding. Somehow. The transmitter's humming low, steady. Probably running off the juice we got from yesterday's dim daylight. We're down to 2 solar panels that still charge it all. The rest are cracked too deep. One shattered during the night. I heard it give, a sharp snap like bone. Could have been the wind. If there's wind. Could have been something else. I've been sleeping in the soundproof booth mostly. It's the only space in here that still feels sealed. The foam in the walls traps just enough cool to let me breathe without coughing. I've been rationing water, what's left of it, and boiling the rest over a camping stove using coffee filters and bits of cloth. Tastes like rusted nails. Still better than nothing. The street's silent again. No movement. But something passed through a few hours ago. I know because the car alarms on the next block all triggered at once. And they don't work off signal anymore. They've all been dead since the wave. That's what I call it now. The wave. Because it wasn't just light or heat or blast. It was pressure. Frequency. Something you felt in your bones more than you saw. I heard the alarms. Then nothing. Just silence. A minute later, a dog started howling. Not barking, howling. Low and cracked and tired. Like it didn't remember how to cry properly anymore. I haven't heard a dog in days. Then it stopped too. The phones are dead. The internet's a corpse. Even the TV broadcasts. The ones that used to loop emergency signals over black screens. Those are gone now too. Just snow. Old static. Like we're back in the 50s, except colder inside. I tried to send out a wideband burst on the open VHF line just after sunrise. Short message. Anyone alive, respond with location. Repeat, respond with location. I looped it twice. Waited. Static. Then, for a second, I thought I heard something. Not a voice, not a transmission. It was Morse. 3 short taps, then a pause. One long, 2 more short. SOS. But nothing after. No call sign, no reply. I wrote it down anyway. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it was just signal distortion bouncing off the haze. Or maybe someone's out there. Somewhere. Somewhere close enough to be desperate. If you're the one who sent that signal, if you can hear this, I'm still listening. Keep transmitting. Try again when the air cools after dark. Use anything. Old rigs, scavenged radios, even the dashboard mic of a truck if it still works. We've got maybe 20 feet of reach in this fog, but sometimes the weather does weird things to sound. Carries it farther. Warps it. There's an old man still alive 2 blocks from here. I don't know his name, but I see him sometimes. On his balcony, shirt wrapped around his face like a filter. He just sits there in a lawn chair, watching the street. He waves when I flash the signal light. Doesn't talk. Doesn't come down. I think he's waiting for someone. Or maybe just waiting. I left him a can of peaches on his doorstep yesterday. Didn't knock. Just walked up, dropped it, walked back. This morning it was gone. That counts for something. We don't talk about it much in the broadcasts, but people are still trying to help each other. Quietly. Secretly. In the cracks between panic and despair. That's the part the collapse didn't kill. 3 nights ago, I heard from Nora. She's still alive. She made it to the hills outside town. Said they're using the library basement in Glenwood as a shelter. The building's old, thick walls lined with books makes for good insulation. 4 families down there, maybe more now. They boil rainwater, grow mushrooms in storage closets, use hand-cranked flashlights and old bike dynamos to run shortwave rigs. She said they found seeds in a forgotten FEMA kit. They're planting in the soil beside the parking lot, using broken mirrors to reflect what little light filters through the sky. They call it the Garden of Maybe. She laughed when she said it. First time I've heard someone laugh in a while. They take turns keeping watch. Nobody goes out without goggles and a mask. One girl, 13 I think, has figured out how to make filters out of paper towel rolls and charcoal powder scraped from burnt logs. They call her the engineer. I hope she survives long enough to build something better than all of us. Nora said they listen every night. Signals weak but steady. They rigged a metal antenna using copper wires from old lamp cords. She says my voice comes in with grain and fire. I think that means static. That's fine. I'll take grain and fire. If you're listening, Nora, thank you for staying alive. There's something else. I debated saying this, but I can't keep it in. Last night I saw light in the sky. Not lightning, not stars. Something artificial, like a slow-moving spark across the haze. Blue, cold blue. It flickered behind the clouds and disappeared east toward the mountains. Too slow for a jet. Too quiet for a chopper. I think it was a drone. Government, maybe. Or something worse. I don't know what's still flying out there, but someone's watching. Not helping. Just watching. And it wasn't alone. A few hours later, the static on band 13B got weird. Garbled speech. Not human. Like words said backward through a blown speaker. Then silence. Then this. Clearing protocols initiated. Zone C14. Confirmed compromised. Cleanse and reseal. And then gone. C14. I checked my old maps. That's our region. I think they're burning cities from the air. Not nukes. Something quieter. Hotter. Final. I don't know how much time we've got. If you're hearing this and you're near the edge, get underground. Find stone, metal, anything thick. Don't trust windows. Don't trust water that smells sweet. That's not water anymore. Don't travel during the day. The sun isn't what it used to be. The UV levels spike past safe limits before noon, and what's in the air sticks to your skin, turns it red, then white, then gray. And don't follow the sirens. If you hear one, stop. Listen. Figure out where it's coming from. I've had survivors tell me the sirens are lures now. They broadcast from mobile units, draw people in. And when they do, they don't come back. Some say it's military. Some say it's cleanup crews. Some say it's not human. I don't have answers, only patterns, only fragments. That's all that's left of the world. Fragments of places that used to mean something. Fragments of people who still do. If you're out there, write this down. 99.3 FM, or ham signal 145.8 megahertz. I broadcast on the hour, every hour, until the transmitter dies or I do. You are not alone. Not yet. The air burns, the sky lies, but the signal still lives. Talk soon. It's 11:22 a.m. now. The heat has started to hum. That's the only word I have for it. It's not just something you feel on your skin. It's something you hear inside your head, like a pressure building just beneath your ears. A soft vibration, almost musical, if music could make you feel sick. The paint is bubbling on the ceiling panels. The rubber on my headphones is softening, curling at the edges. The water bottle I had sitting near the window warped from the inside out, just slumped into itself like it forgot how to be solid. It's getting harder to stay awake. I think the heat drains more than sweat. It pulls something out of you, focus maybe, thought. I'm drinking in little sips now, just enough to keep my throat working. I don't eat much. Crackers when I can, dried fruit if I can keep the ants off. Yeah, the ants are still here. Tough little bastards. They made a nest in the server rack. I don't bother them. They don't bother me. We just coexist. There's a sharpness to the air today, like the particles are slicing each other mid-flight. I lit a match earlier to test for gases. It burned sideways, like the flame was afraid of something. Still no word from the hospital. That's not surprising. Most buildings with central air collapsed in the first week. The ductwork melted. The filtered systems overheated. Some caught fire from the inside. I knew a guy named Jacob who worked ER night shift. Tall, tired eyes, always drinking burnt coffee and reading pulp novels in between stitches. He called in once after the collapse. Said they were down to flashlights and guesswork. The machines stopped working. Blood bags turned. Fourth fluid boiled in the tubes. They tried ice packs, but the ice wouldn't hold, not even in freezers. He said it felt like the walls were heating up from inside. His last message said, "We're not doctors anymore. We're priests now, just keeping vigil." I haven't heard from him since. I keep thinking about all the little things we used to trust. The constants, cold water, air that didn't fight back, a voice on the other end of the phone. Those are gone now. This isn't just a fallout event. That word doesn't mean what it used to. Fallout was debris. Fallout was ash. Fallout you could brush off. This, whatever this is, it's in the air. It's in the structure of the air. Something molecular. A geochemist named Edric, from a research station near the Nevada fault line, sent me a signal yesterday. Weak Morse at first, then a clear voice over analog band. Said he's been tracking isotopic changes in the troposphere. Claims something was pulled into the atmosphere during the impact. Not radiation. Not a chemical. but a synthetic element, something unstable, something never seen in the wild. He called it Element Zero, said it has properties that defy known laws of phase change. It behaves like a gas when cool, like a liquid when charged, and becomes a suspended plasma under direct sunlight. Said, breathing it doesn't poison you, it changes you. His words, not mine. It teaches your blood to forget how to be blood. Edric said they're sealing the station, going dark. He sounded calm, too calm. He ended his call with this. If it starts humming in your ears, it means the air's already rewritten your DNA. Don't run. There's nowhere left to go that hasn't already said yes to it. I replayed that line 5 times. Already said yes to it. I don't know what that means, but I can't stop hearing it. There's a girl I hear from sometimes. Her name's Ren. She lived out near Salem, Oregon. Her dad was a welder. Her mom used to run a food truck. Ren's maybe 15, 16. She's smart, smarter than she knows. She uses an old field radio they pulled from a National Guard depot to broadcast a short daily log, usually around midnight. She calls it ash weather. She tells the story of each day through what the ash looked like. Said Monday's ash was powdered glass. Tuesday was dry soap. Wednesday was coffin dust. Last night, she said, it snowed on the house for 3 hours. It wasn't snow. I know it wasn't. But it moved like snow. Landed like snow. Mom wouldn't let me go outside, but I caught some on the window with clear tape. It twitched. I saved that log. I listen to it when I can't breathe easy. Kids like her. People like her. They're why I keep this broadcast going. Because for all the sirens and silence and sickness in the sky, there are still kids with tape and curiosity and courage. We've seen what breaks. Let's talk about what holds. A group of farmers outside Yuma found a way to convert old diesel pumps into evaporative coolers using cloth soaked in vinegar and crushed charcoal. They're planting squash under reflective tarps, watering at night, using glow-in-the-dark paint to map their rows. They've got a well with sealed caps and a filtration system built from motorcycle parts and fish tank pumps. They call it Zone 9. One of them, Hector, transmitted a guide to my inbox before the satellite relays died. 34 pages. Step-by-step survival methods, pressure diagrams, even mental health tips. His first line was, "There's no cavalry coming. So saddle up, cowboy." It made me smile. First real smile in days. Here's the truth, for anyone listening who hasn't heard it said aloud yet. The government's not coming. The systems are gone. The satellites are blind. And the grid is just bones. But you're here. I'm here. And that's something. So here's what I want you to do. If you've got an old walkie-talkie, charge it. Solar, crank, whatever. If you've got a map, circle the places with shade, stone, steel. If you've got a notebook, write your name. You matter. Even if no one reads it, you matter. If you're traveling, move at dusk. Stay low. Avoid bridges and tunnels. The heat concentrates there. It nests in the dark. If you see someone standing still in the street, don't call out. Approach slowly. Look for movement behind the eyes. Some people freeze. Others are not what they were. I'll explain more next hour. Right now the hum's getting louder. I'm gonna lie down in the booth. I'll set a timer. If you're awake out there, keep your eyes on the sky. But don't believe everything it shows you. The sun lies. But the signal tells the truth. This is still the radio. This is still me. Talk soon. It's 2:04 in the afternoon. The shadows outside have gone soft, like they're bleeding into the concrete. There's no edge to them anymore. Just slow-moving blotches that stretch and drift, even though nothing's casting them. I've been staring at one for 20 minutes now. It hasn't stopped changing shape. I don't think it's the light that's wrong. I think it's the air. The air is bending things. The temperature inside the studio is up again, somewhere near 112. The thermometer cracked at 109, so I'm guessing now. I've soaked towels in what's left of the water barrel and nailed them over the ventilation slits. It slows the heat just enough to keep me conscious. The station walls are sweating, not figuratively, literally. Condensation's running down the inside of the east wall like someone's breathing on it from the outside. I don't know if that's humidity or if something's pressing in. I try not to think about it too hard. The power's holding steady, though. The charge on the main unit dropped faster than usual this morning, but the secondary bank picked up the slack. Thank God for redundancy. You're still out there. I know because I caught a skip signal earlier from northern Idaho. A young couple calling themselves Jules and Micah. They've been bouncing around old backcountry roads in a solar-powered camper they salvaged from a fire station. Micah is a former mechanic, said he rerouted the battery array and hooked up a manual switchboard radio that can scan 16 channels at once. They're calling their rig the Ark. I like that. Jules used to be a biology teacher, said she's been keeping track of animal behavior, what little of it's left. Birds are mostly gone, but insects seem to be adapting. She said something weird, though. Said she's been seeing the same moth over and over again. Same pattern on the wings, same torn edge. Said it follows their camper at night. I asked her if it could be a hallucination, maybe stress or heat stroke. She didn't hesitate. No, she said. It's not that. It's watching. I didn't ask more. They're heading east now, following a signal they picked up on an analog CB channel that keeps repeating coordinates. Broadcast on loop, mechanical voice. Safe zone. Corridor open. No fire. Repeat. No fire. They know it might be a trap. They're going anyway. I can't blame them. People don't chase safety because it's guaranteed. They chase it because maybe means something. If anyone else hears that broadcast, check the coordinates against your maps. If it says Zone 3-6-7-Alpha, that's the one Jules mentioned. Don't go alone. Don't go blind. Use mirror flashes or dead drop markers before you approach any new structure. Watch for repeating symbols, spirals, triangles, grids. These have been found near compromised entry points. Still don't know what they mean. Might be warnings. Might be invitations. Earlier today, I found a handprint on the back door. Human. Too large. Too long. The fingers were stretched like rubber, and the thumb was angled too far out, like it bent backward. It was left in ash, smeared down the metal like someone tried to push through it. I stared at it for a long time. Then I cleaned it off. No message. No note. Just that print. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was the heat playing games. Or maybe someone's testing the perimeter. The problem with this new world isn't just the heat or the air or the silence. It's the uncertainty. The way every sound feels like a code. The way every shape feels like a warning you don't know how to read. But we adapt. We have to. Let me tell you about Levi. He's a paramedic. Was, anyway. I've mentioned him before in passing. He stayed in the city after most of his team left. Thought maybe he could set up a field clinic at the university gym. That was a mistake. Too open, too exposed, too central. They lost it in less than a week. But Levi didn't stop. He moved into the old print shop on 14th, the one with the steel shutters and basement press, converted it into a triage center, uses natural ventilation and chemical cold packs to slow fevers, rations antibiotics, filters blood with repurposed aquarium pumps. It's crude, but it works. He's treated over 40 people. Keeps a log. Names, symptoms, treatments, even failures. Especially failures. He said something to me on the radio last night that I can't stop thinking about. We're not trying to save the world anymore. We're just trying to save the notes. That hit me harder than I expected, because he's right. That's what this is now. Not rebuilding, not revenge, not restoration, documentation. If we don't survive, someone else might. And if they do, they'll need the notes. They'll need to know where we failed and where we didn't. So if you're writing things down, keep going. If you've got paper, use it. If you've got tape, seal it in plastic. If you've got a recorder, log everything. What you ate, where the wind shifted, how the sky looked that day. The human memory isn't built for this much loss. It's not built to remember extinction in slow motion. So we write, we transmit, we remember out loud. I'm going to stay on for another 2 hours. After that, the panels need to cool. I can't afford another battery overload. The last one nearly fried the console. I'll return at sundown, if the air hasn't changed again, if my voice hasn't turned to sand. But for now, if you're there, send your signal. Tell me what time it is where you are, what your sky looks like, what names you still remember. Use frequency 145.8 megahertz or shortwave 31 meter band. Use codename Ashlight. I'll be listening. And if you're tracking the hum, take note of what hour it peaks. I think it's connected to the solar exposure cycle. I think it's trying to synchronize with us. Maybe it already has. This is still the radio. Even if the air burns when I breathe. Talk soon. It's just after 5:30 p.m. The heat outside dropped by 3 degrees, according to the analog gauge duct taped to the back door. That makes it around 108 now. Almost tolerable if you don't breathe too deep, if you hold still, if you pretend your sweat isn't flammable. The color of the sky has changed again. It's gone gray, like someone smeared soot over a window with their palm. There's no depth to it, no distance. It's just flat and close, like the clouds are resting right on top of the buildings, pressing down. I watched a bird try to fly across the block an hour ago. I say bird, but honestly, I don't know if it was still a bird. Its wings were too thin, twitchy, more like strips of cloth than feathers. It flew in a tight spiral, then slammed against the wall of the apartment across the street. Didn't even glide down, just dropped. I haven't gone outside to check. I don't go outside anymore unless I have to. That's the rule now. Outside isn't for people. It used to be different. That's a stupid thing to say, but I have to remind myself sometimes. We used to walk around without masks. We used to breathe without thinking about it. I used to open the window in this booth and just let the breeze in. Let the sound of cars and life and rain move through this place like it meant something. Now the only sound out there is what the wind leaves behind. Rustling. Distant groaning from twisted metal. The low buzz of heat rising off pavement that doesn't reflect anymore. I had a dream during my last nap, Or maybe it was just a memory. I saw my old apartment, the one from college. Window fan rattling, cat on the sill, smell of ramen and beer and cheap detergent. I could hear a song, something from the radio back then. A jingle maybe. A real dumb one. And then the sound warped. Got slow. Pulled like a cassette tape catching in the player. And the cat turned its head toward me, but the eyes weren't right. Too many reflections. Like a mirror inside a mirror. I woke up coughing. My mouth was full of ash. Still is. I've gotten 3 transmissions today. 1 voice, 2 bursts of Morse. The voice was from a woman calling herself Kenzie. Said she's in what used to be northern Alabama, not far from the Tennessee border. She's traveling on foot with her grandfather, who was a Vietnam vet. She said he's the only reason they're alive. He remembers how to navigate without GPS, how to purify water with just charcoal and sand, how to read weather from clouds. Said he built them a Faraday cage out of chicken wire and scrap metal that kept their small radio working. She said he tells her bedtime stories now, not from books, but from memory. Things he lived, things he survived. He tells her about what came before. Kenzie said, he thinks this is just another war, a long one, slow one, but still winnable. She didn't sound like she believed that, but she wanted him to. I asked if they had shelter. She said they sleep in culverts, move at night, stick to railroad tracks and tree lines. Said the asphalt makes their boots melt. I asked what the air's like there. She paused, said, it hums, like it's listening. Then the signal cut out. The Morse bursts came from 2 different places. Best I can tell, one near Lake Erie and the other from deep in the Badlands. Both identical. That last string, CLARS maybe, or maybe an acronym. I don't know what it means yet, but I'm writing it down, adding it to the board. There's a pattern forming. I don't understand it yet, but it's there. The same phrases keep surfacing in reports from different places. It sings, the ash remembers. Don't trust reflections. Stay away from the quiet people. That last one chills me, because I've seen them. People who stand too still, too long, who don't respond when you call, who turn their heads, but not all the way, who seem to blink out of sync. I don't know what they are, or what they're becoming, but I've started logging their locations. We're tracking something here. Even if it kills us, we need to understand it. That's why I stay on the air. Even when my voice cracks. Even when the batteries flicker. Even when I don't know if I'm hallucinating half of what I see. Someone's got to keep the record, even if we all burn. This next part is going to be hard to say. I got a message from the university bunker, the one near the ridge, the people who called themselves the Lantern Crew. It wasn't a voice. It was an automated burst, one of those old civil defense packet bursts. You'd know the sound if you heard it. High-pitched scream of compressed data, followed by a code. This one said, system compromised. Containment failed. Do not enter zone lantern. Repeat. Do not enter zone lantern. That's all. I knew someone down there. Harper. She used to call in every 3 days. Give me updates on water levels, solar readings, plant growth. Said they had converted the old science labs into hydroponic towers. Said they were learning to grow food without sunlight using bioluminescent bacteria. Smart. So smart. But not fast enough, I guess. If you're out there and you were heading for the lantern site, don't. It's gone now. And we need to stop pretending every underground site is safe. They're not. Some of them are worse than outside, because sometimes what's down there has time to change. And it's not always what went in that comes back out. I'm sorry. I don't mean to scare you, but I promise the truth. And the truth isn't always soft. But here's something else. I got a ping from the edge of the Rockies. A woman named Yasmin. She's got 3 solar arrays, a working repeater, and a signal booster made out of scavenged drone parts. She says she's pulling in signals from as far as Alaska. And she says we're not alone. She's heard voices in different languages. Faint, fractured, but real. Someone in what used to be Kyoto. Someone in the highlands. A kid in the ruins of Mexico City. Broadcasting music through an old Casio keyboard. We are scattered, but we are still here. Even if the maps don't make sense anymore. Even if the air hurts. Even if the power comes and goes like a flickering candle. We are still here. Write this down. 99.3 FM or 135,8 megahertz. Signal name, Ashlight. I'll broadcast again in 2 hours, battery permitting. Until then, stay cool. Stay quiet, stay curious. This is still the radio, and I'm still here, even if the air burns when I breathe. It's 8:06 p.m. I'm still here. The station's holding. The temperature dropped just below 100 about an hour ago, which is the closest thing to relief I've felt all day. I cracked the outer door for 10 seconds. Just 10. And the heat still curled in like smoke, but at least it didn't punch me in the lungs this time. I breathed through 2 layers of cloth and a scarf soaked in vinegar. It worked. A little. The world is quiet again, but not like before. Not dead quiet. This is different. There's something moving under the silence now. Not sound, exactly. More like a pressure behind your eyes, a feeling that the walls are listening, or that the silence is choosing what to reveal and what to hide. And I don't think we're meant to know which is which. I tried to reach the shelter near South Platte. No response. Just a tone, 3 short, 2 long, then silence. That's new. Someone's hijacked the open relay. Could be interference, could be encryption, could be something worse. I've started seeing shadows on the far roof again. Same spot, same outline. It doesn't move. Not really. But I've been watching it for 3 days now, and I swear it's a few inches closer every night. Could be my imagination. But I'm not the only one seeing it. Someone from across the river called in just after dusk. Name was Anthony. Said he's seen something similar. Tall shapes, motionless. Always just far enough away you can't make out the face. Just enough to feel watched. He tried to approach one. Got within a block before his ears started bleeding. Said it wasn't sound that did it. It was silence. A silence so loud it crushed his thoughts. Like every sound got pulled out of his head at once. He crawled back to his shelter, lost hearing in one ear. Said the thing never moved. But it was still there when he got home. Waiting. Watching. He stopped talking after that. I think his radio cut out. Or maybe he did. If you're out there, Anthony, flash a mirror at the sky next sunset. I'll be looking. Maybe we can triangulate whatever this is. On a better note, I received a printed map today. Yes, printed. Someone couriered it. That means someone walked it here. Slipped it under the fence behind the loading dock. Sealed in waxed cloth, bound in twine, hand-labeled, East Grid Marked Zones. It shows areas around the city where the air pressure spikes, places where electronics fail faster, where the hum gets louder. Someone's been charting these zones. The patterns form a spiral, wide arcs that curl inward toward the downtown core. I've pinned it to the broadcast wall. Whoever made this, you're doing something powerful. You're not just surviving. You're mapping the threat. That's how real resistance begins. I've started copying it by hand in case the paper disintegrates. The ink's already blotting from the heat. To everyone listening, if you're making your own maps, add a symbol. Anything simple. A triangle for safe water. A circle for clean air. A slash through a square for places too hot to approach. We need a shared language again. Something basic. Something that can outlast this. Even cavemen had symbols. So can we. Here's something else. A transmission came through earlier, mid-bandwidth. Clearer than I've heard in days. Man's voice. Calm. Almost cold. Not military. Not civilian either. He said, Sector 4 has completed primary cleansing. Thermal layer neutralized. Containment holding. Expect residuals in soil for 37 to 43 cycles. Do not repopulate. That was it. He didn't sign off. Didn't identify. Just a flat declaration of sterilization. That means they're still watching the land. Still monitoring. Still deciding where we're allowed to exist. I don't know who they are. Could be remnants of the government. Could be something that used to be government and evolved into something else. Could be foreign. Could be not human at all. But if they're cleansing sectors, that means they're not just reacting. They're managing, which raises the question, managing what? And for who? There's a kid in Detroit still broadcasting music. Not messages, music. Scratchy cassette recordings of jazz standards and classical piano. Every night at midnight. She never speaks. Just lets the tapes run until they melt. Someone called her the ghost DJ. I like that. She reminds us what it sounded like when the world didn't need saving every second. When sound could just be beautiful. If you hear her station, don't interrupt. Just listen. Let her play. We need that more than we realize. People ask me how I stay sane. Truth is, I don't. Not really. I talk to the equipment. I name the mice in the walls. I've had full conversations with a rust spot on the window I convinced myself was shaped like a face. I sleep in short bursts, eat once a day, breathe through cloth and vinegar and habit. But I keep going. Because this is what's left of the signal. Because someone's got to keep talking. And if all I do is make noise until I can't, then so be it. At least it's noise with a purpose. Before I sign off for the hour, a few more things. If you find paper masks, they're useless now. Not against this. Layer cloth. Add charcoal. Use pine resin to seal edges if you have it. Any adhesive helps. Soak with clean water, not alcohol. It evaporates too fast and draws in particles. Avoid canned goods that hiss or smell sweet. That means pressure failure. The bacteria is different now. It grows faster, stronger, smarter maybe. If you find an old emergency radio, test it on low frequencies first. Some bands have become unstable. They emit what sound like voices, but aren't. If it starts repeating your name and you haven't said your name over the air, turn it off. Immediately. If you find mirrors that seem too clean, don't look. Just don't. And finally, if you're sending out Morse signals at a unique cadence, a fingerprint, something no AI could fake, that's how we'll know you're still real. The battery's warming. That means we're close to charge drop. I'll be back at 11. Until then, This is still the radio, still me, and the air still burns when I breathe. But it's worth it. For you. For us. Stay hidden. Stay human. Stay hopeful. Talk soon. It's 11:07 p.m. Night has always been the easier part, at least lately. The temperature drops just enough to stop the worst of the air scorch. You can breathe for a few seconds at a time without cloth. You can open your mouth and not taste metal immediately. But that doesn't mean it's safe. The heat might rest, but the dark listens. I've heard more movement tonight than usual. Not footsteps. Those are long gone. But soft dragging. Scraping. Like someone running cloth across stone. Long pulls. Hesitant. I've checked the stairwell twice since sunset. Nothing there. Nothing visible. But the signal receiver glitched around 10:40. Just for a second, a spike in the waveform. Like something walked between the antenna and the air itself. Something that blocked not light, but radio. That's new. If you're near tall buildings, stay away from rooftop ledges. They seem to climb. That's not a joke. I've logged 3 different survivor reports of shapes pulling themselves onto roofs with limbs that don't articulate like ours do. Long elbows, reverse-jointed knees. They don't walk. They lean. One of the reports came from a guy named Marlin. He's set up in what used to be a daycare just off the main river here. Said he's been sleeping in a walk-in freezer that no longer works, using it as a bunker. Covered the inside with quilts, stuffed towels into the seal, lined the walls with foil. He's got a wind-up radio, no transmitter, can only listen. But tonight, he slipped a note under my back door. Don't broadcast between 2 and 4 a.m. They're listening during those hours. It gets louder when you speak. He didn't knock, didn't linger, just left it and vanished. I've known Marlin a long time. He's not the type to believe in ghosts or government conspiracies. So if he says the hum responds to sound, I believe him. I'll try to stay quiet between 2 and 4 tonight. If you don't hear me, assume I'm following his advice, not gone. I want to read something to you now. A message. It came scratched into the back of a road sign near the southern access tunnel, where Route 28 used to pass under the rail yard. Someone carved it with a key or a screwdriver maybe. It said, "The fire in the sky wasn't a weapon. It was a mirror. We saw what we are." It didn't like the reflection. I stood there reading it until my skin started to blister. Whoever wrote that, thank you, because that's exactly how it feels sometimes. Like we weren't hit by something. We were shown something. And the world cracked under the weight of the truth. I know I keep saying things that sound strange. Hard to believe. I wouldn't believe them either if I wasn't sitting in the middle of it. But the weirdness is real, and it's getting worse. Here's a report that came in from Dakota. A woman traveling north by bike said she passed through what used to be an orchard town. No people, just buildings covered in red vines. Not plant vines, metallic, fine, thread-like. Almost beautiful, she said. She stopped to rest inside an old gas station. Saw something on the wall. "It was my name," she said. "Written in soot. Just my name. Nothing else. Nobody knew I was coming." She left immediately. Now, I don't know how to explain that. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe someone else with the same name. But maybe something else. Because this place, whatever we call it now, it remembers. It echoes. And sometimes, it speaks back. Earlier this week, I found a small book wedged between the cracks in the rooftop generator housing. Just a pocket notebook. Spiral bound. Melted a little at the edges. It belonged to a girl named Lana. Her entries were short, 1 or 2 lines a day. Mom hasn't spoken in 3 days. She watches the window. I miss the sound of microwaves. The moon doesn't rise anymore, just pretends to. I kissed the ash. It tasted like something lost. The last entry said, "The lights under the street are moving again." I keep that book next to the console now, as a reminder that someone tried, that someone wanted to remember what it felt like to forget. I haven't seen another plane in over 2 weeks, not even drones. Whatever surveillance systems were in the sky, they're either offline or too far gone to notice us anymore. That might be good news. Or it might mean we're no longer important, but we're still here. That means something. Here's what I want you to do tonight. If you're safe, relatively, write something down. Anything. A feeling. A face. A memory from the time before. A smell you miss. A place you hope still exists. Tuck it in a jar, in a drawer, behind a brick. Whatever. Just save it. Because if we make it through this, those notes will become sacred. Proof that we were more than what tried to end us. I'm going to sleep soon. The kind of sleep that's closer to blackout than rest. I haven't eaten in 36 hours. Food's low. I've got 1 tin of beans left, a sealed pouch of almonds, and half a bottle of boiled water. I'm stretching it, but tomorrow, if the wind shifts right, I'm going out. Just for a minute. There's a vending machine 2 blocks south that might still have something in it. Haven't dared crack it open yet. Too hot. Too risky. But it's time. I'll be back before first light. Or I won't. But I'll try. And if I don't make it, the transmitter's set to auto-repeat the last 12 hours of broadcast until the batteries die. You'll still hear my voice. For a little while longer. If you're out there. If you've got signal. If you're still breathing through the pain. Tell me what the wind sounds like where you are. Tell me if the shadows are moving in the same direction as your memories. Tell me if your name still tastes like yours when someone says it out loud. This is still the radio, and I am still the voice inside it. The air burns, but we're not ash yet. Talk soon. It's 1:03 in the morning. I'm whispering now. I have to. Between 2 and 4, remember? That's when the air listens. When the hum shifts. When the metal in the walls seems to breathe. So I'm keeping the lights low. Running off the small cell battery. No fan. No unnecessary power draw. Just the transmitter and the low-frequency amp. It's quieter this way. Like slipping a note under someone's door instead of knocking. If you're out there, keep your volume low. Listen close. I don't know what might ride on the noise. I made it back. The vending machine still stood. Dusty, warped at the edges, one side buckled inward like it had taken a direct hit. But inside, miraculously, 2 sealed packets of something that used to be granola bars. The foils intact. No swelling, still dry. I took them both, left a note scratched into the glass with the edge of a key. Still breathing. R. If anyone finds that, if anyone ever comes across it, you'll know I made it at least this far. On the way back, I saw something I don't understand. A building that wasn't there yesterday. It stood where the dry cleaner used to be. Corner of Huntley and Main. I know that block. Grew up near it. The cleaner burned down in week 2 of the event. Gone. Ruins and black frame. But tonight, something stood there. It was tall, dark brick, no sign, no lights. It wasn't wrong exactly, just off, too clean, too still. The windows were all covered from inside with paper, except one. The second floor, left corner. That one had light. Not white light. Green. Like hospital glow. Fluorescent, but too soft. And something behind it moved. Slowly. Like it knew I was watching. I didn't stop. Didn't even blink. Just walked. I think it saw me. I won't pass that way again. So here I am, back in this sweatbox booth. My throat's cracked from breathing through filters all day. My hands are blistered from the walk, and I'm shaking harder than I want to admit. But I'm here, and so are you. That's enough. The city's quieter tonight than it's been in days. I think it's waiting for something. There's a pressure in the air, like the moment before lightning. But there's no storm. Just that weight. Just the buzz in your jaw and the feeling behind your eyes that says, don't speak too loud. So I won't. I got a whisper burst transmission from the Pacific Ridge sector. Someone named Arlo. Young voice. Calm. He said, the sun's been stuck for 3 days, same place in the sky. We checked every hour. No shift, no shadows moving, just heat, just stillness. I asked if maybe it was just overcast, static light. He said no. We put a bottle of water on the roof. It cast a shadow on the wall. That shadow never moved, not even an inch. He sounded scared, the kind of scared that's too tired to shake. I didn't know what to tell him, just asked if they had food. He said yes. Enough. For now. Said they've been sleeping underground. Old wine cellar with stone walls. Good place. I told him to stay there. Stay dark. Stay quiet. Then his signal cut out. If you're hearing this, Arlo, stay put until the shadows move again. If they move at all. And if they don't, we'll figure it out. Somehow. I've been thinking about the sun. How we used to measure everything by it. Hours, days, direction, warmth, life. Now we fear it. Like it turned its face away from us and left something else in its place. It's not just hotter, it's hollow. Like it shines without giving. A lamp with no fire. Maybe it's an illusion. Maybe the real sun's gone and we're staring at a ghost. Or maybe we broke something we didn't even know could break. I don't know. But I keep thinking about the old myths. Prometheus, Icarus, Babel. All the times we reached too far and got burned. Feels familiar. Here's what I do know. There's still a woman out east who boils rainwater with magnifying glass arrays and grows beans in windowless rooms. Her name's Leah. There's a boy in the Canyonlands who sleeps inside a refrigerated truck and sends Morse signals by kicking the side in rhythm. He calls himself Tap. There's a man in the Florida ruins who lights his rooftop with candles every night. Not for hope, but to keep the creatures in the air from landing. He says they hate flame. I don't know if that's true, but he's still alive. So maybe that's proof enough. And here I am, still talking, still breathing, still burning. Just slower than the world. If you're listening, wherever you are, tell me something. Tell me what your silence sounds like. Does it buzz? Ring? Whistle? Or is it clean? Tell me if the wind still moves where you are. Tell me if you've seen a building that wasn't there the day before. Tell me if your dreams taste like static. I'll be listening, even when I'm not speaking, especially then. This is still the radio. Still a voice, somewhere between the wires. And even if the air burns when I breathe, at least I'm still breathing. Talk soon. It's 4:42 in the morning, still dark, still quiet. But not the comforting kind. It's the kind of quiet that feels rehearsed, like everything out there is holding its breath, waiting to see who talks first. I haven't slept. Couldn't. The booth's thermometer cracked sometime around 3. The needle just snapped, dropped to the bottom like it gave up. That's okay. I already know what the air feels like. It feels like breathing through wool soaked in vinegar and left out in the sun for a week. My skin's tacky with sweat and ash. I haven't taken off my outer shirt in 2 days. It's stiff now. Dried salt rings around the collar. The back's burnt through where I leaned against the wall yesterday without thinking. The paint peeled and stuck to my spine. That's how hot it gets in here. The metal in the mic stand scalded me when I adjusted it earlier. I've wrapped it with old gauze and duct tape. We adapt. I lit a candle an hour ago just to have something move in the room besides me. It flickers, sure, but the flame doesn't dance. It leans, constantly, like something's pulling it sideways. I'm not even near a vent. There's no breeze, just pull. I don't know what direction that is anymore. I've lost track of compass points. The sun doesn't rise where it used to. It just slides upward in a line that's more guess than pattern. If you still have a compass, see if it moves. Let me know. If it's spinning, we're in more trouble than we thought. If it's stuck, we're already past the tipping point. Let me talk to you about the hum. You know the one that lives in your bones now. In the floorboards, in the teeth of your tools, and the metal backs of your chairs. It isn't sound, not exactly. It's vibration, a frequency that buzzes just below recognition. You don't hear it until it stops, and then the silence feels wrong, like your own heartbeat is lying to you. We used to measure things by noise, used to think quiet was safe. Not anymore. The hum started changing around midnight. I noticed it shift higher, subtle, but enough that it made the back of my skull ache, like something tuning itself to the way we think. I turned off all the electronics, sat in silence. The hum stayed. That means it's not the gear, not the wires. It's in the air, maybe in the earth. Someone from Montana called in yesterday, said the rocks near their camp started to vibrate, just the ones with iron in them. Magnetite veins, maybe. He said the vibration matched the pulse rate of his own heartbeat, tracked it, synced to it, then outpaced it. He passed out. Woke up hours later with a nosebleed and bruises on his fingertips like he'd been holding something too tight. Said he hadn't moved. I told him to get away from the rocks, find a new place to rest. He said it's too late for that. Said it follows now. That's not the first time I've heard that. I don't know what it is, but it's moving, and it's learning. Here's what I've pieced together from the transmissions, the notes, the whispers. The event wasn't a single strike. It wasn't just one bomb or one pulse or one accident. It was a cascade. Something hit the upper atmosphere. Maybe artificial, maybe not. And it triggered a chain reaction in the magnetosphere. That spread through the ionosphere, down into the crust, and bled through the infrastructure. The air changed because the rules changed. We didn't just lose power, we lost permission. Permission to use fire the way we used to. Permission to trust water. Permission to think the sun was safe. It's all corrupted now. The elements turned against us, and in their place, echoes. That's the part that keeps me up at night. Not the burning, not the quiet, but the echoes. I hear voices on frequencies I know are dead, channels that were buried years ago. I hear laughter, arguments, things that sound like old sitcom reruns and the sound of knives on porcelain. But they're wrong. Office. Like someone's recreating them from memory, from fragments. I got a signal last night that looped the same 7 seconds over and over. It sounded like an old voicemail recording. A woman saying, "I just wanted to know you were okay. I don't care about anything else, just call me back, please." Then silence. Then repeat. The timestamp said 2003. There's no way that message should be active. And yet, there it was, clear as breath. Somewhere, something is sifting through the detritus of our lives and pressing play. I don't know why. I don't think I want to. But it means something's still out there, still collecting, still sorting. Whether that's human, machine, or something else. We're being archived, maybe for rescue, maybe for autopsy. There are still warm bodies out there. Still people trying to live through this. A man named Joseph, called in from the woods near Spokane. Lives in a shed. No power, no plumbing, just a series of pulleys and mirrors he uses to signal the other cabins. There are 7 of them now. They take turns sending runners to the river at night. Boil everything, even breath. He said they use a whistle code for emergencies. 5 short, 2 long. Carries farther than radios now. The air amplifies it. He told me this. We're not trying to win, just trying not to be forgotten. And that's what keeps echoing in my head. We may not win, but we don't have to disappear. So if you're out there, if your battery holds, or your panels still charge, or you're cranking your generator one sweaty armful at a time, talk to me. Use the shortwave bands between 3.2 and 4.0 megahertz. Broadcast at dusk or just before sunrise. Say your name, your town, the last thing you ate. Say the name of someone you lost. That's all it takes. That's all we need now. Something human. Because that's what this is about. Not survival, not revenge, not even hope. Just memory. Pure, stubborn memory. We were here. We mattered. Even when the air burns and the sky flickers like a dying eye, and the silence wants to devour our last sentence, we speak anyway, because the fire can take everything, except the record. This is still the radio. This is still the voice. Even if I'm coughing blood and whispering through bandages, even if the transmitter's held together with tape and spit and prayer, I'll be back after first light, assuming the sun still rises. Until then, sleep light, dream less, and hold your breath if you have to. We're not alone. Not yet. Talk soon. It's 7:02 a.m. Light's creeping back into the city now. Though light doesn't mean what it used to. It's the wrong color again. Pale gold mixed with something greenish, like moss soaked in engine oil. You'd think that'd feel peaceful, seeing the world come back into view. But here, the sunrise brings a kind of dread. Because if the dark listens, then the light remembers. There's a shadow on the wall I didn't see yesterday. Not from a person. At least, not one that moved the way people should. It's too tall, narrow at the top, the legs too long. But what scares me is that it looks still, like it's been there all night. Like it waited for the sun to cast it again. I don't want to know what it belongs to. The hum is lower now, not gone, but calmer. Like it's breathing again after holding its breath through the night. It shifts in waves, soft enough to ignore if you're distracted, sharp enough to stab your thoughts when you're quiet. That's how it gets to you. It waits until you're alone with your mind, then starts tapping at the base of your spine. Not with pain exactly, just presence. I boiled the last of the water this morning. What's left tastes like plastic and copper, but it'll keep me awake. I've been chewing the edges of one of the granola bars I found, slowly, like rationing seconds. My stomach doesn't growl anymore. It just folds in on itself, quietly. I haven't seen another living person in 3 days, just shadows, echoes, glimpses in glass that don't match my own movements, and a reflection, yesterday, in the back window of the station van that blinked when I didn't. That's the world now. You have to double-check if what you're seeing is really you. Let's talk about the river. The last call I got from that direction was over a week ago. A woman named Beth. She said she was living under the steel beams of the 17th Street Bridge. Said the water didn't reflect anymore, not even at night. Said it was black, flat, like oil, but worse. Then she said something I still can't shake. The river listens. It doesn't just carry sound anymore. It holds it, plays it back hours later. She said she heard her own voice echo back to her from the shore. Not just words, the emotion too. Like the river had recorded her grief and was playing it back. The call cut out after she said her husband walked into the water and never left a ripple. Beth, if you're alive out there, call again. Let me know you made it out. I need to believe some of us make it out. Yesterday, I got a faint pulse from somewhere near the old wind farm to the west. Someone out there's using turbine rotations to charge a loop antenna. Low efficiency, but it's something. They call themselves the Remainder. That's all they said. Just a sign-off. We are the Remainder. Holding still. Holding strong. I like that. Feels honest. No false hope, no slogans. Just endurance. Quiet. Battered. Unbroken. If you're part of that group, send more details. We'll try to establish a timing protocol. I want to get your voices on this broadcast, if the link holds. You've got something we all need. Proof that we're not extinct. I've been logging signal anomalies again. Here's the pattern. 1 a.m. Spike in 2.7 megahertz static. 3:22 a.m. Overlapping tones like Morse, but not. 4:18 a.m. Digital chirp, possible encryption. 5:05 a.m. Full blackout across all channels for 47 seconds. During that blackout, the lights dimmed in here. Not fully, just enough to make the air feel tighter. I checked the battery logs. No power drop. That means it wasn't equipment. It was external. Something disrupted the signal itself. We may be looking at an atmospheric event, or a test, or something else entirely. There's a theory I've been keeping to myself. It's half-formed, but maybe you've thought it too. What if the air isn't just poisoned? What if it's occupied? What if the molecules we breathe are no longer empty space and gas, but hosts, structures, vessels, something intelligent enough to spread without machines, without movement, just stillness? I don't know. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I'm just tired. But I swear, some nights when I'm falling asleep, I can feel the air listening to my breath. Not just sensing it, matching it, like it's practicing. I'm gonna try something soon. A test. I've got an old weather balloon rig in the storage room, left over from a college internship. If I can patch the casing and rig the battery casing to fit the portable transmitter, I'll try a skycast. Maybe I can get a signal above the haze line, just once, just for a minute. If there's anything left beyond the dome, maybe it'll hear us. Maybe someone up there will answer. I'll try tomorrow just after dusk. That's when the batteries hold their charge best. If I don't say anything for a while, that's where I am. Wish me luck. Before I go, here's what I want from you, if you're listening. Take a second today. Write down what you know. The air temperature, the color of the sky, the last voice you heard that wasn't your own. Even if it feels small, especially if it feels small. Those details are gold now. They're all we have. And if you've lost someone, say their name. Even if no one hears it, say it. Speak it into the ruins. Carve it into the sound. Let it echo. They deserve that. We all do. This is still the radio. And I am still a man sitting in a hot metal box, whispering into a cracked mic, hoping my breath means something. I'll talk again after noon, if the air allows it. Until then, keep your head down, keep your mind sharp, and don't follow anything that calls your name in your own voice. That's not you. That's not safe. That's not memory. That's the mimicry. Talk soon. It's 12:17 p.m., midday now. Or at least I think it is. The sky's too bright, but not in a way that feels right. It's not sunlight. It's exposure. Like someone turned up the contrast on the world and left it that way. Even the shadows look bleached, like they've been burned into the concrete instead of cast by light. I've draped thick cloth over the windows here, and still the heat seeps in. My breath feels heavier every hour, like the air has weight, like it wants to press down on me and keep me from standing up. Outside, something smells different today. Not just ash or burnt plastic. It smells clean, but wrong. Like chemicals trying to cover decay. Like the air's been scrubbed, but not for us. And I haven't heard birds in days. Not even the ones that used to scream after dark. I used to think silence meant safety. Now I know better. I've been monitoring the southern band, the 1.6 to 1.8 megahertz range. That's where I used to hear the old cargo ships when they passed through the Gulf, before everything went still. This morning, I caught something. Just 10 seconds. A voice. Male. Croaking, raspy. He said, "They can't come inside if you keep the fire moving. It's the stillness they climb through, the quiet spaces, the gaps between breaths." Then static. Then silence again. I don't know who he was, didn't catch a name, but it matches other stories I've heard lately, about things that don't open doors, but arrive, things that need emptiness to slip through, blank air, open hallways, empty homes. I used to think they moved like us, but they don't. They emerge. That's the word people keep using. Not approach, not walk. They appear, like images burned onto old film, If that sounds like nonsense, I don't blame you, but I've seen it. Last night, out by the transmission shed, I saw a man standing on the hill, tall, still, looking at nothing. And then, as I blinked, he was gone. But there was heat where he'd stood. I walked over. The grass was scorched, no tracks, no smell, just burn. There's a pattern in all this. I feel it, even if I can't explain it. Like a math problem too big to write down. I got a scrap of an old research paper yesterday, slipped under the door with no note. The pages were half burned, the ink smeared. But I could read a few lines. Enough. It said, "Contamination of atmospheric memory structures may result in recursive phenomena, manifestations of collective trauma encoded in physical space." Recursive phenomena. That's what this feels like. Like the world is replaying its own end in loops. Different cities, different faces, but always the same collapse. As if the sky remembers how we fall. Someone out there is trying to study this, or stop it, or maybe they started it. I don't know, but there's more going on than fallout and heat. Something bigger. I got a voice ping this morning from Nevada. A woman named Ezra. She's holed up inside an old data center outside Sparks, using backup diesel to run 2 servers and a transmitter. She said they've been analyzing signal drift across low bandwidth channels. What they found? Patterns. Repeating shapes and noise. Geometric waveforms that shouldn't exist in random signal. She said the shapes resemble mandalas, like old spiritual diagrams. But here's the kicker. She matched one of them to a crop circle found in 1996. Another matched carvings from the Nazca Plateau. Another looks like a brain scan. She said, it's like something old is broadcasting itself back through our technology, using us as antennae, or memories, or hosts. She sounded calm, focused, said she's not scared, just amazed. I wish I had that kind of clarity. She told me to warn anyone still running analog radios. Shield your transmitters with layers of cloth or water. Something organic. Said the signals are starting to feedback, like they're waking up parts of our old machines. And sometimes, our minds. Ezra, if you're still listening, thank you. Keep sending what you find. We're listening. I want to tell you about a man named Brenner. He used to be a power station supervisor. When the event hit, he sealed himself inside the turbine vault and stayed there. He kept the grid alive in his section for 9 more days. 9 days longer than anyone else. He died on the 10th. Smoke inhalation. But before that, he recorded a message. Not to anyone in particular, just into the system. He said, I don't know if this matters, but if anyone ever restores the archives, I want them to know we tried. I want them to hear one voice that didn't run, one pair of hands that stayed on the levers. That message was archived locally and backed up on one of the wind relay stations. I found it 2 nights ago, played it back 3 times. It gave me chills, because I think that's all we are now. Records. Pieces of ourselves echoing into whatever comes next. And if there's anything listening, if there's anyone rebuilding from the outside in, I want them to know we weren't silent. We didn't fade, we screamed into the static. We clawed our way into the void with signal and breath and story. And we made ourselves known. So tell your story, if you still have one. Write it on walls, carve it into wood, say it aloud. Even if no one's there, because maybe someone is. Not here, not now, but someday. someone will find the signals, the burned tapes, the twisted wires, and they'll hear you. They'll know you are real. That's the closest thing to survival we have left. I'm going to try the weather balloon launch soon. Sky's still shifting, but it's stable enough for a shot. If it works, I'll let you know. If not, maybe someone up there will hear me anyway. Until then, keep moving, keep whispering. Keep something warm between you and the shadows. This is still the voice, still the station. Still a man with cracked lips and burned lungs, hoping his words mean something. Talk soon. It's 3:49 p.m. If you're hearing this, tell me what time it is where you are and what the air feels like when you breathe in. Not the temperature, the texture. Is it thick, dry? Does it hurt? Does it taste like copper or plastic or ash? Because here, it tastes like burnt battery acid and rusted nails. And when I breathe too deep, I feel it scratch the inside of my teeth. I've been drinking condensation from the station's air ducts, wrapped a blanket over the vent fan and rigged a slow drip into a clean glass jar. It's maybe half a cup an hour, but it's something. The filters are long gone. The water's gritty, but it hasn't killed me yet. So I guess we count that as a win. The wind's back, or something pretending to be wind. It doesn't move trees or dust, but it feels like pressure moving past skin, and it brings with it a kind of voice, not in sound, but in memory. You stand in it, and suddenly you remember things you forgot years ago. Today, I remembered the sound of my mother's voice when she laughed at her own bad jokes. I haven't thought about that in years, maybe decades. There's something about this place now. It brings the past up to the surface like bubbles in thick oil. I think the planet's bleeding memory. There's a new shadow on the north wall. It moves across the station every hour, even though nothing outside should be moving. It's tall and narrow, and always seems to stop right over the fire escape window. I cover it with tape, but the tape peels off by itself. That's not wind. That's will. I've been logging every shortwave anomaly I can find. Some of you are still broadcasting, quiet, flickering voices in the noise. I heard someone named Mika last night. She was calling from what used to be Tulsa. Said her garden finally sprouted, even under the thermal sheet she strung over the greenhouse. Zucchini, she said. 3 whole leaves. She cried when she said it. Said it was the first thing she's seen grow since the sky turned. She's using glass shards to focus heat away from the soil, reflecting the burn instead of absorbing it. Smart. Told me she saw something moving in the mist that rolls through at dawn, but it didn't come close. Just watched, then disappeared before the sun hit. Mika, if you hear this, keep doing what you're doing. Write everything down. Record the weather, the colors, even your dreams. Especially the dreams, because the dreams are changing. More and more people are reporting the same thing. Cities that stretch endlessly, skies full of doors, trees that whisper names they shouldn't know. Last night, I dreamt I was walking a road made of black glass, and every time I looked down, I saw my reflection, but older and bleeding from the eyes. I don't sleep much anymore, and when I do, I think the sky sees me. I tried to launch the weather balloon an hour ago. It didn't lift. I thought the rig was faulty. But no. The balloon inflated just fine. The instruments buzzed to life. But the sky refused it. Like the air was heavier up there. Like something was pressing down from above. Not gravity. Intention. I cut it loose anyway. Watched it hover 10 feet off the ground, spinning in place, then crumple and fall straight down. The string snapped. The rig cracked. The signal is dead. Whatever's up there. It doesn't want us to look back. Maybe that's what this is all about. Not destruction, obscuring, blinding us, slowing us down, making sure no one remembers what came before or what's watching now. I keep thinking of that phrase I read on a wall a week ago, scrawled in soot across the bricks of an old church. If you forget, it feeds. I think that's the game now. Don't forget. Don't let it rewrite you. Don't let it archive you. Because that's what the silence wants. Not your death, your erasure. And as long as we speak, however quietly, however broken, we resist. There's an old man out east, I think his name is Cormac. He transmits once a week using Morse code through a metal drum and a set of magnets. He's got no power, no gear, just rhythm and memory, and every week he taps the same message. We are not the first. We will not be the last. Do not bury the truth. He's right. We can't bury it. We have to carry it. Even when it hurts. Even when it burns. Speaking of burning, this morning the sun pulsed. Not figuratively, literally. I saw it blink, like someone dimmed it for half a second and then turned it back up. The temperature dropped 3 degrees, then jumped 6, and the sky went from yellow to orange to bone white in under a minute. That's not natural. That's a signal. I don't know who sent it. Maybe it was a warning, or a countdown. I have no answers for that yet. But I'm watching, recording, surviving. That's the job now. Record and repeat. Remember and warn. Someone will hear. Someone always does. Until then, here's what I need you to do. Talk to each other, even if it's just over cans and string. Mark the days. Etch them into walls. Tell the stories. All of them. Even the ones that feel small. Especially those. Because those are the ones that make us human. Not the big battles. Not the news flashes. But the zucchini in the greenhouse. The whisper of a name in the wind. The sound of a mother's laughter through the memory of heat. That's what survives. That's what the machines can't mimic. This is still the radio. Still the voice. Still someone breathing through the fire, hoping someone, somewhere, still hears. Talk soon. It's 6:11 p.m. Sun's still up, but it's not moving. I've been watching it through a sliver in the blackout cloth all afternoon. I marked its position on the wall at noon, and it hasn't shifted more than a hair. It just hangs there, pinned to the sky like a photograph tacked to the inside of a coffin. It doesn't radiate anymore. Doesn't throw light the way it should. It presses, like it's pushing something invisible into the ground. The concrete outside is starting to crack in straight lines. Not like heat cracks, not random. Lines, geometric, like something underneath is pushing back. Something wants out. I don't know how to describe it without sounding mad. I probably crossed that line days ago anyway. But when I stand in the hallway with the lights off, I can feel a rhythm in the walls, like breathing, shallow, arrhythmic. Inhale, inhale, inhale. No exhale. It's not alive, not the way we think of life. It's just awake. I got a weak burst signal from the lake territories. It was encrypted, badly, which means someone's still using old military software out there. Took me an hour to brute force it. Message was short. Radiation no longer mapping to expected decay models, not exponential, not linear. It loops. Then silence. They're calling it temporal residue, meaning the fallout patterns aren't just physical, they're repeating, not geographically, but historically. Same spots lighting up at the same intervals, over and over, even when nothing new detonates. Like echoes of an explosion that only happened once. That's not nuclear. That's something else. Maybe dimensional. Maybe memory. Maybe some kind of imprint burned so deeply into the air that it replays itself like a broken record. Whatever it is, it's spreading. If you're near a hotspot, check the timestamps. Mark them every hour. If the spikes repeat with exact spacing, move. You're sitting in a loop, and nothing inside a loop ever gets out the same. Speaking of time, the clocks in the station have finally desynced. All three of them, analog, digital, and atomic drift, are showing different hours now, and not by a few minutes, by decades. The atomic clock reset itself to 1970 and won't correct. The analog one stopped entirely. The digital cycles through numbers that aren't real times. I've stopped caring about hours. I measure the day by the ache in my chest and the weight of the air. I sleep when I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I eat when I remember I'm hungry. And I talk because if I stop, I'm afraid I'll vanish. It's not just loneliness anymore. It's self-preservation. Every word spoken into this mic is a line scratched into the stone of the world, a mark that says, I was here. Are you? If you are, tell me. Tell me something. Anything. What color was the sky today? What sound woke you up? Did you taste water or fire when you breathed in? Was the ground warm under your feet? I don't care how small it seems. It matters. Because you matter. I had a dream last night I can't forget. I was walking through a hallway made of glass. Every step I took left a footprint that bled light. Behind me, the light grew, brighter and louder, until it hummed like a turbine. But when I looked down, there was no body. Just breathe. Just vapor. And on the walls were names, scratched in every language I could imagine. Some I couldn't. Thousands of names. And one of them was mine. That scared me more than anything. Because I haven't told anyone my name since the sky turned. Which means something else already knew it. If you've been dreaming strange, write it down. Burn it if you have to. Just don't forget. Don't let it sink into that black static at the edge of your mind. Because whatever we're fighting, it starts in memory. It starts in the erasure of memory. And it wins when we forget ourselves. Here's a report from a survivor near the collapsed zone in West Virginia. She calls herself Lark. That's all she gave me. Lark said the trees in her valley didn't die when the fallout came. They froze, leaves held mid-fall. No rot, no decay. Just stuck in time like someone pressed pause. Said she sees things inside the frozen tree rings. Faces, hands, not carved, trapped. I asked her if it could be hallucination. She just said, I thought so too, until one of them blinked. Lark, if you're still listening, don't go near the trees at night. If they're watching, they're learning. And if they're learning, they're not trees anymore. We're being studied, measured, maybe mourned, maybe cataloged. Or maybe we were never the top of the food chain to begin with. Maybe we were just an echo of something older. Something that remembers how this all went before. Something that's watching to see if we make the same mistakes. I don't know. I don't know anything, but I keep talking. Because the voice is the last thing they haven't stolen, and the air, even when it burns, still carries it. Here's what I need you to do tonight. Sleep with one ear open. Keep a candle lit, not for warmth, but to remind the shadows you're still here. And if you wake up feeling like something is missing, check your memories, not your pockets. The theft starts inside. This is still the broadcast. Still the tower. Still the last pulse in a dead frequency. Talk soon. It's 9:07 p.m. The heat hasn't broken. Not even a little. I stepped outside the booth an hour ago and it felt like stepping into someone's mouth. Wet, hot, and wrong. Like the atmosphere's turned organic, fleshy almost. Heavy with moisture, but no rain. Just this thick tension, like the world's holding its breath and sweating out the last of its patience. The air smells like warm wires and scorched meat. And something sweeter now, almost like syrup. But not any syrup I'd eat. It clings to your tongue even when you haven't opened your mouth. That sweetness, it's always a warning. 3 stations I used to monitor have gone fully silent since noon. Not staticky, not jammed, blank, as if nothing is even trying to broadcast. One was in Alberta, the other 2, Detroit and Savannah. Detroit was the last to go. Around 6:44, just cut out mid-sentence. No pop, no whine. Like someone unplugged the universe behind the speaker. There's something I need to tell you. I've been putting it off. The light here, it bends now. Not in the obvious way. Not like mirrors or water. But when I move my hand through the air, the shadows don't follow the motion. They delay. Just a beat. Just long enough for your stomach to notice something's wrong before your eyes do. I think time is coming apart at the edges. I got a shortwave buzz from a man calling himself Stroud, broadcasting from the Central Plains. Said he found a field of wheat that never died. Golden, clean, full. Growing untouched in a scorched basin. No radiation readings. No pests. No mold. Just perfect wheat. He tasted it. Said it was sweet. Too sweet. Then he started bleeding from the nose. Then the ears. He didn't sound scared. Just confused. Like his body didn't know what part of him to shut down first. He said, "It's not food. It's memory. They're growing reminders." Then silence. That's all I got from Stroud. I don't know what it means, but I believe him. Somewhere, something is seeding the ground, not with crops, but thoughts. Replicas of what we used to trust. And we're supposed to consume them. Supposed to welcome the familiarity. But familiarity is the trap. Don't eat what's offered without asking why it survived. Ask what it wants. I saw something in the water this morning, down by the retention pool outside the substation. What's left of it anyway? The concrete is cracked and mossed over. Half the fence is gone, and the runoff leaks in patterns now. But the water's not still. It moves in spirals. Tiny, slow-turning spirals. And today, I saw an eye in the middle of one. Not a reflection. An eye, under the surface, watching me. It didn't blink, just hovered, and the spiral stopped spinning while I stood there, like it was pausing for my reaction. I left. I don't go back now. The old myths talk about gods in the rivers, right? Eyes in the deep, voices in the wells. We wrote those off as stories. Maybe they were warnings. Maybe water doesn't forget as easily as we do. Got a pulse relay from Southern Oregon, an old freight line being used to power low-frequency directional signals. A woman there, Elna, says the forests are echoing laughter now. Not real laughter. Recordings. Snippets of voices people recognize. Fathers, daughters, teachers, lovers. Not speaking, just laughing. Like something is pulling joy from old phones, old files, old memories, and repeating it through the branches. She recorded some, played them back, and every time she did, the signal quality degraded and the temperature spiked in the room by exactly 3.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Elna, if you're still out there, burn those recordings. Don't let the forest remember you. Memory is currency now. It's not ours anymore. I've been feeling it too. I've started losing names, not just people. I can barely remember the name of the town I was born in. I knew it 3 days ago. I said it on the air. Now it's gone. I remember the color of the street signs, the smell of the river, but not the name. Something is pruning us, quietly. Maybe it starts with names because names are how we anchor things in time. Maybe the goal isn't to kill us. Maybe it's to unground us, make us float, make us forget who we are until the only things left standing are the watchers, the ones who never had names to begin with. I don't know how to fight that, except like this, by talking, by remembering, by speaking out loud the things that want to be erased. I remember the way my brother laughed when he couldn't catch a baseball. That dumb, high-pitched squeal, like a bird stuck in a bottle. I remember the smell of gas stations in the summer, cheap air fresheners and burnt coffee. I remember the hum of the city buses, the way they made your chest vibrate if you stood too close, and I remember my name. But I won't say it, because the moment I do, something might take it. So I'll keep being a voice, a pulse, a line of heat on the cold graph of the world. I'll be back at midnight, if the light holds. Until then, breathe shallow, sleep far from reflective surfaces, and don't answer voices that speak with your voice. That's not you. This is still the radio. Still the memory machine. Still the last real thing in a world folding in on itself. Talk soon. It's 12:04 a.m. Midnight came and went, and the sun never left the sky. It dimmed, just a little, but it's still there. Pale, frozen in place, hanging above like a light bulb no one remembers turning on. And the sky? It's not black. It's not even dark. It's a strange gray-yellow, like the inside of a bruise that's never going to heal. That means it's been at least 20 hours since we've had real night, if that's even how time works anymore. I lit a candle just to remember what darkness used to feel like. It flickered once, then burned blue. No wind, no draft, just a flame that didn't belong here. I blew it out. I don't want to see what comes through if I leave it burning. Earlier tonight, something came to the door. It didn't knock. It didn't rattle the handle. It just stood there. I felt it before I saw it. A kind of pressure behind my ribs, like someone whispering into my bones. And then the air got heavy, wet, and every light in here dimmed. I didn't move. I just held my breath. And after what felt like a year, it was gone. didn't leave a sound, didn't leave a trace. But when I opened the door an hour later, there was a footprint in the dust, barefoot, too large to be human, and facing into the station. Whatever it was, it didn't want in. It wanted to remind me it already had been. I don't know how to process that. I'm not even sure I should be saying it out loud. But if it happened to me, it'll happen to someone else. And when it does, you'll need to remember that stillness is not safety. Stillness is permission. Something ancient is reclaiming the corners of this world, the empty hallways, the silent woods, the rooms we stop entering. I've been thinking a lot about entropy, not the textbook definition, the human version, the way people stop checking on each other, the way memories slip out the back of the mind like smoke through a broken window, the way silence becomes normal. Entropy is forgetting your own voice. So don't. Not now. Not when that's the first thing they want. I got a strange signal a little after 10 p.m. Bounced in on an old echo chamber frequency, designed for long-range test pings, not conversation. But there was a voice on it, a whisper. It said, "We didn't die, we just became unmeasurable." I ran it back 3 times. Same phrase, no variation, no ID tag, just that line, unmeasurable. What does that even mean? I've heard reports of people vanishing without decay. No dust, no bones. Just gone. Sometimes mid-sentence, sometimes mid-step. As if they slipped between frames of a film no longer running. And maybe that's what this place is now. Not the aftermath of a war. Not the ruins of civilization. A gap, a pause in the timeline, a misfire in the engine of reality. And we're what got stuck inside. Here's something I haven't said before. I don't know if this signal goes anywhere anymore. I don't know if anyone is still alive to hear it. I'm not even sure you are real. But I keep speaking because that's what the voice inside me still knows how to do. That's what makes this place ours. The ones watching from outside, they don't speak. They don't remember. They record. But we still tell stories, and that means we're not gone yet. I remember the sound of metal wind chimes in my grandmother's backyard. I remember how a glass bottle sounds when it rolls across asphalt in the early morning. I remember that a strawberry is only sweet because you forget what it tasted like the last time. Memory is the loop, but voice is the escape. So I'm telling you now, if you wake up tomorrow and you can't remember your name, speak anyway. Make one up. Sing a song you don't recognize. Whisper something you wish someone had told you when you were a child. Because those are the threads, the ones that pull us back. Someone named Davi sent a flare signal from the mountains near Flagstaff. They're using an old seismograph rig to map movement underground, and it's not tectonic. The data looks like footsteps, not random, rhythmic, almost like breathing. And it's moving toward the cities. They estimate impact in 7 days. If cities are still what they're targeting. If humans are still what they want. Davy's last note. It doesn't hunt us. It waits for us to return. That's worse. Yeah, it is. Because that means this place isn't collapsing. It's resetting. And we're the only variables that don't belong. I'm going to try to sleep for a few hours. The heat's steady, but the walls are holding. If you're still awake, tell me what you hear. Even if it's just the buzz in your own ears. Even if it's just the sound of nothing. That's a sound too, and it means you're alive. This is still the radio, Still the last voice on a line no one remembers. Still a man breathing through fire, refusing to stop speaking. I'll talk again at dawn, if dawn still comes. Talk soon. It's 3:18 a.m. The sun is still up. It hasn't moved. Not 1 inch. I don't know what this is anymore. It's not day. It's not night. It's exposure. A kind of raw, never-ending glare that doesn't feel like light. It feels like watching. Like something in the sky is holding its breath and waiting to see what we do now that we've broken all the clocks. I haven't slept. Not really. Closed my eyes for maybe an hour. But even behind my eyelids, the light pushes in. And there's no silence anymore. Just this low, humming throb, like power lines over your bed, or your own heartbeat when you lie still long enough to hear it echo inside your skull. The station's walls are sweating. That's not a figure of speech. Real droplets seeping from the metal seams. The moisture's warm and slick and smells like static. I wiped some onto a cloth and held it under the light. It shimmered purple. Not like oil. Like plasma. This place is changing. Or I am. I'm not sure there's a difference anymore. Got a relay spike from an outpost somewhere along what used to be Interstate 70. The voice was faint, broken, but I caught enough. A young man, maybe late 20s, said his name was Roe. He was driving west when the sky turned white, and everything ahead of him disappeared. Not exploded, not burned, just absent. Like the land had been lifted clean off the map. He said, "It's not ruined, it's missing, like a tooth pulled clean. No rubble, no smoke, just a curve in the road that leads into nothing." I asked him what happened when he stepped closer. He didn't answer. Signal dropped. "Roe, if you're out there, I hope you turned around. If you didn't, maybe you're the first person to see what's past the edge. Or maybe you are the edge now." A few hours ago, I heard laughter. Not in my head, not through the signal. Here, in the hallway outside the transmitter room. It was a woman, maybe late 30s, soft, warm laugh, like someone remembering something private, something sweet. I stood up. I turned toward the door. And I swear to you, I heard her say my name, not out loud, not in sound, but inside the air. I haven't told anyone my name. I don't use my name. Whatever that was, it wasn't here to visit. It was here to claim. So I sat back down, put on the headphones, and started talking again. Because that's how you keep it away. Noise, rhythm, witness. Someone from the borderlands called in earlier, an old rotary line patched through a solar relay. He said entire towns have started going quiet, not because of heat or radiation, but because of surrender. People are stopping. Stopping movement. Stopping speech. Sitting down and waiting, eyes wide open. Breath held. He said he passed 3 different clusters of bodies, none dead, just paused, mouths open, hands limp, eyes locked on the horizon like something's coming for them that they know they can't run from. He called it the waiting, said it spreads like song. One person stops, and within hours, the others join in. He asked me, "What do you do when the apocalypse doesn't kill you? It just asks you to stop being alive?" I didn't have an answer. Still don't. Maybe that's the whole point of this. Maybe what's left of the world doesn't want to erase us with violence. Maybe it just wants to convince us we've already lost, that nothing is worth fighting for anymore. That's why we need to remember what fighting looks like. It doesn't always mean weapons. Sometimes it just means talking. Sometimes it means lighting a fire and daring the dark to come closer. Sometimes it means screaming into a broken mic until your throat bleeds because you refuse to let the silence have the last word. That's what this is. That's what we are. You, me, everyone still out there. Everyone still breathing, even though the air tastes like electricity and smoke. We are resistance. We are interruption. We are the stuttering, burning, gasping, refusing to die heartbeat of a world that isn't done yet. So tell me your stories. Tell me your temperature. Tell me what the light looks like where you are. Are the shadows still your own? Is your voice still yours? Do you remember how to cry? Because I do. And I will keep crying. Out loud, in static. With these words, and these hands, and this heartbeat. Until whatever is watching decides to blink first. This is still the broadcast. Still the tower. Still the scream you can't quite erase from the sky. I'll be here when the next hour comes, if it ever does. Talk soon. It's 5:45 a.m. There's no sunrise. The sky is glowing, yes, but it's not rising. Just a steady, pale burn, like someone left a hospital light on behind a stained curtain. The kind of light that doesn't help you see. It just shows you what you didn't want to. The station's backup battery is starting to blink, not out of power. That would be a blessing. No, it's blinking in a pattern, a loop. I didn't program it to do that. It's supposed to cut out when voltage drops below threshold. But it's pulsing like Morse code now. 6 short, 2 long, then off for 20 seconds. I looked it up. The closest thing it matches is an old naval distress code. Holding fast, surrounded, minimal power. It's broadcasting by itself. I think the station is becoming aware, or something inside it is, and I don't know if it's warning me, or something else. A listener near what's left of Wichita called in last night through a hand-wired FM loop. She said she's been living in a grain elevator with her son. Said they've been using mirror flashes to communicate with a group on the opposite ridge. For weeks, the flashes made sense. Short bursts, patterns, a kind of language built on sunlight. But yesterday, the other ridge started flashing before sunrise. No sun, no light, just flashes. She asked her son to respond. He held up their mirror, waited for reflection, and the ridge went dark. An hour later, the basement of their elevator began to flood. Not with water, with light. Thick, syrupy light, like melted pearls and bone. She said it whispered when it rose. I asked her what it said. She didn't answer. Just went quiet. Then, it remembers us. Then the line cut. If you're hearing this, I need you to promise me something. Promise me you'll forget the easy answers. The ones that say this is fallout, or war, or cosmic accident. Because it's not. It's attention. We are being noticed by something that remembers everything. And memory, when it's that deep, is no longer passive. It becomes shape. I tried to boil water earlier. Realized the flame from my makeshift stove didn't make a sound. Not a hiss. Not a crackle. It burned quiet. And the water didn't bubble. It just evaporated. In silence. No steam. No scent. Like the process itself had been edited. It scared me more than anything else today, because if boiling can be made silent, what else is being changed? How many things do we think we still know that have already been rewritten? My handwriting started to change. I didn't notice at first. I keep a journal, paper, and graphite. No power needed. Old habit. But yesterday, I went back to read something from last week and realized the script wasn't mine. Same words, but the curves were tighter. The spacing was alien. The feeling on the page was wrong. And when I tried to trace over them, to correct them, my hand refused. It's like something else wrote through me, and it doesn't like edits. This is how it starts, not with noise, with revision, one line at a time, one forgotten detail, one misplaced date, until the world you swore was real becomes just a suggestion. We can't let that happen. We have to anchor to the things that ache, to the things that hurt, to the things that don't make sense but refuse to be replaced. I want you to remember the way your fingers sting when they touch metal that's been baking in the sun, the first sip of cold water after a hot run, the sound of someone saying your name, not kindly, not cruelly, just sincerely. That's where the world lives. That's where we draw the line. Someone out there, goes by fan, reported something from the far north, said entire fields of snow are melting in geometric patterns, squares, circles, spirals, not weather-related, not solar. Said the melt lines form glyphs when seen from above. Wants to climb a hill and get a photo. I told him not to. I begged him not to. Because that's the trap. You look at them long enough, and they look back. You understand them, and they remember you. I don't know what those glyphs do, but I know they're not maps. They're memories, laid down like tattoos into the skin of the earth. And we are walking on a body that never consented to be marked. The earth doesn't want to fight, but she doesn't want to forget either. We're somewhere in between that now, witnesses to something ancient trying to breathe through the soot and silence of our mistakes. And the only thing we can do, the only thing, is speak. Even if your voice shakes. Even if your throat is cracked. Even if the only one listening is a radio with no battery, echoing into a sky that doesn't turn. Speak. Because that's how the truth survives. And that's how you stay real. This is still the broadcast. Still the heat. Still the whisper on a deadline. Still you. Talk soon. It's 7:22 a.m. The light hasn't changed. It's like the sun is stuck in a slow blink, half closed, too tired to rise but too angry to set. Nothing casts a shadow anymore. I walked the hallway twice, held my hand to the wall, moved it back and forth. No outline. Just this diffused, sour glow like milk left out too long. And it's hot. Not like fire. Like breath. Hot and close and wet. Like being trapped in someone else's lungs. The walls drip. The floor sweats. And the ceiling creaks in slow bending waves, like it's trying to lift off and float away. It's been 13 days since the first detonation. That's my best guess. Days don't count the way they used to, and the clocks gave up trying to convince us otherwise. But I remember that first white flash behind the mountain ridge. I remember the way the birds fell out of the sky before the sound even reached us. I remember the silence that followed. Not peace. Shock. Like the world was stunned. like it hadn't expected us to be this stupid. Since then, I've counted 16 signal collapses, 11 known blackouts, 3 confirmed cities gone not by fire or force, but by absence, like someone took a hot spoon and scooped them off the map. People are still trying to explain it. Radiation storms, quantum inversion, echoes of early cosmic memory reasserting dominance. But deep down, I think we all know. This isn't science. This is correction. Something came to balance the equation, and we are the remainder being cleared. A voice from Nova Scotia broke through static around 4 a.m. Clearer than anything I've heard in days. His name was Eben. He said, "The ocean is whispering now. Not waves, not wind. Words." Said, if you press your ear to a shell, or a drainpipe, or a hollow rock, you can hear a sound like language. Not English, not anything human, but intentional, rhythmic. He called it the deep grammar. Said, if you listen too long, you start to understand the emotion behind the words. And that's when the water starts to rise. Eben, if you're still out there, don't go back to the shore, no matter what it promises, because that's how it pulls you in, not with force, with longing. Something here has figured out that humans don't respond best to fear. We respond to hope, false hope, that maybe there's still an island somewhere untouched, that maybe there's a machine deep in the earth that can reverse time if we just find it, that maybe the things coming aren't here to erase us, but to rebuild us. And maybe that's true. But it won't be you they rebuild. It'll be something that looks like you, thinks like them, forgets everything in between. I saw a deer this morning. First living animal I've seen in a week. It stood at the edge of the parking lot, where the weeds have cracked through the pavement. Its eyes were completely white, not milky, not blind, just unwritten, like the universe forgot to finish rendering that part of it. And its shadow didn't follow. It just stood, breathing, watching the booth. Then it opened its mouth. No sound came out, just ash. And it turned and walked away like it had delivered a message. I think everything out there is trying to speak, but not in the way we understand. They use light, and pattern, and silence, and ache. And when we fail to decode it, they try again. Louder, closer, more personal. That's why we keep seeing versions of ourselves in the reflections. Why we keep hearing our own names whispered in static. It's not coincidence. It's calibration. I tried tuning the old weather radar system today, just to see if there were any storm fronts moving. Instead, I picked up a looped transmission. On every band, every frequency, every language. Same message. The error has been acknowledged. Resetting skin. Resetting sky. Resetting memory. And then it starts again. I don't know who's broadcasting it. I don't know if it's meant for us. But it's happening, and I think we're the error. Here's what I want you to do. If you still have mirrors, cover them. If you still have photographs, burn them. Anything that holds a likeness is a doorway now. Anything that preserves who we were is a place for them to reach through. It's not about vanity. It's not superstition. It's anchor removal. They want you drifting, ungrounded, forgotten. Don't give them that. I scratched my name into the wall of this booth, not because I'll forget, but because I want them to see it. A defiant scar, a number. you can do the same. Wherever you are, make your mark. A drawing, a message, a song, a whisper into metal. Something that doesn't erase. Something that echoes. Because as long as we echo, we're not gone. This is still the signal. Still the static. Still the voice they haven't taken. Talk soon.